Well, 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 you have finally got here. You are listening to the Erskin Music Podcast. Here, by popular demand, we discuss life, culture, Christ, and of course, music. These half-hour broadcasts are perfect for a commute, coffee time, chat, or any other gap in your schedule where you want to put great content. So without further ado, let's join the conversation today, already in progress.
Hey, folks, you guys are not going to want to miss this interview. So tell your friends, call your mama, call your daddy. This interview is about ready to jump off here. So without further ado, it is Meredith Gunkel. It is the band Undefeated. This is our top story today, folks. You came for this, and you got C.S. Lewis in addition to this. Meredith.
Hello.
How are you this morning?
I'm doing very well. You just get me, unfortunately. But
I
we're
was
still going to
excited.
have a lot of fun.
I thought the band was coming in. I was like, man, they're all going to be popping their heads out of like Christmas tree or like presents or something.
Yeah, we got a stomach bug going around, unfortunately. So
Okay,
they're
well,
not here, but I've stayed healthy and I plan to keep staying healthy.
all right. Do what you got to do. Get some vitamin C going over there. Hey, your hair is almost a normal color, or is it just the
Kind
green?
of. It's more blue. It's at its back right now. My roots are growing in.
Oh, okay. All right. I was going to try
You're
to
like,
do a
something's
check.
wrong here.
I'm going to say, I got to make sure that the right person is on the screen and that someone didn't just jump in the screen in your place and be like, hey, I'm really Meredith. I'm like, hey, I got to inspect this and make sure
I have a
sure
twin.
this is right. Yeah, that's great. Well, it's great to finally get you on the show. And I know that we've been going back and forth and trying to get the date scheduled. And so it is here. And you guys and you are a very special guest of the Erskin Music Show.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah. As we jump into it today, there might be some folks, and let's, with the spirit of charity in our hearts from Christmas, let's forgive them if they don't already know who you are. They should know. But maybe they hadn't been paying attention and they don't know who you guys are. Could you just kind of describe your band? I'll put some stuff up here in just a few moments here, but your genre, kind of you guys vibe, like what it is that you guys do, kind of the question that every musician hates is like, so what kind of music do you do?
We do primarily rock, but we do have some pop influences and some metal influences. And we've never really been able to be like, this is what we do. But to answer that question, I usually just say rock.
Yeah, I would say pop rock.
Pop, yeah. There's a little bit of elements. I love anything with like good vocals. So I will listen to any genre if the vocals are awesome. And then I have like a crazy death metal drummer who loves all like the heavy screams. And then my bassist is the exact same way. So it kind of melds all of these sounds together, which I think is really cool. And each song we release gets better. And I think we're narrowing in on exactly what the future of Undefeated is going to be.
Yeah, no, that's wonderful. We're going to listen to some stuff here in just a few moments. And because of copyright stuff, I won't listen all the way through, but how long have you guys been a band?
So we've been doing it like seriously for about 4 years. A couple years before that, my brother, who's the drummer, and I was doing like acoustic things, word of mouth. We played on the lawn of a bookstore our very first show. We made $20. We thought we were rolling in it.
Woo!
I think we got like ice cream afterward or something.
Positive numbers. You guys were rolling.
Exactly. And we just did word of mouth for the longest time. Just, bookstores, ice cream stores, just kind of background music type stuff. And then we had our bassist join us, and we kind of like moved a little bit into the heavier side. But when he left, that's when Christian and I really looked at each other and said, oh, no, we really want to do this for the rest of our lives. And so my sister joined us as our now bassist and probably final bassist. I love the sibling thing. And we just kind of kept going from there. And that's when we started like promoting and really writing and treating it like a business and growing. And so we say we've been going for about 4 years seriously, but we started a little bit before that.
Yeah, that's awesome. People are probably wondering, like, how did we meet one another? Like, did I just reach out to you and it's like, hey, look, there's a band. It's kind of a,
On the side of the
secret
road,
se-
actually.
secret fetish of mine. I've been listening to Undefeated and just like fangirl on this thing. Or did you guys reach out to me? It's like, hey, we want to be on one of the most popular up and coming shows. And so give us a little bit of promo. How did all of this happen? How do we know one another? How is this one of the most authentic meetings in the history of live stream
I love
entertainment?
this story. So this is really funny. I was driving. We were both at a festival in Missouri. I was driving down the road, and one of my friends was in the car with me, and we drove past you. And he's like, "Oh my gosh, that's from Erskine. We're like, we should have picked him up." And we were already like half a mile past you. I'm like, "Dang, we should have." And then I'm like, "But I also don't know you, so I'm not just gonna stop and pick up a random stranger."
Some rando.
And we met you in the venue a little bit later, and it still cracks me up. It's so funny. I
So
apologize for not picking you up.
yeah. So I'm wondering who it was that knew me. How come you didn't know me?
I'm gonna be honest. There are like that was our first time in Missouri and with that festival, Nehemiah Fest, at all. And we had been on the road for a couple months and still had a couple months to go. So it was very like one thing at a time. Like we had our itinerary. we were just going. But it was Mikey from Ignescent that said, "Oh my gosh, that's Erskine."
Awesome. Well, it all worked
Fun.
out.
It did, because it led to this, right?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I was teasing you. I was like, "Hey, there's the lady who just drove past me," and I was like, "Hey,
I
goodbye."
remember.
But no, that should be a public service announcement. This is kind of like GI Joe. Kids, don't pick up strangers that you don't know. And at that
And the
point,
best part is our like travel van is like this white 15-passenger van, so it probably looks worse to you than even.
I wasn't going to go there. You could have said it was crowded. You didn't have the space. You had about 13 seats for me, but that's okay. You know what?
It was all of our stuff was in the van, so it was very, very crowded. But
I'm athletic enough to walk my rear end half a mile
Just
down there.
in the back.
Yeah. That's good. That's fun. And I watched a little bit of you guys vlog, and you guys are so fun just in the way that you
Aw.
guys interact with one another. And I got a sense that you guys, in addition to doing music, really enjoy being with one another. And I think that is so critical for a band and people who are, I mean, you guys got to live together. You guys got to figure out how to navigate, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and out there on the road and all the different venues and the audiences that are there. And I enjoyed seeing like all the monsters that you guys got after the show on one
That's
particular
totally
occasion.
accidental, I promise.
You put it in your writer. We must have 11 monsters at every
I felt
show.
so bad after that. Oh my goodness. And I was like, what are the odds?
That is so fun. Would you mind sharing with our audience today? Maybe, you guys are the band Undefeated, and I'm surprised you took over that name. It's like Undefeated Official. Like you guys have the name. There are those moments that we are obviously, because of Christ and in Christ, we are undefeated. But maybe share with the audience some moments where you guys have maybe felt defeated and maybe not necessarily the name that you guys carry, and how maybe the Lord met you in some of those times.
Yeah, so the reason we keep going is there's so many stories that have snowballed and continued to just grow, and God has continued to provide. So the more He provides, the more we keep going. The two biggest things that come to my mind, the first one being just this past tour, was probably the hardest, like mentally and physically, for a couple weeks. We worked with somebody else to book a couple shows, and they didn't go well. But the funniest thing was we were down in Florida, which is 24 hours from where we live. We're way upstate in New York. And we were having problems with our van. Like it just would start and then shut off. And I'm like, oh my goodness, like I don't know what to do. And we just happened to be staying with a mechanic friend. And so I'm like, we're 24 hours away. We don't usually stay with people because we have hotel rooms in our riders, but we hadn't seen them in a couple of years. So like, hey, we're coming through. Can we stay with you? So the day our van like had problems was the day we were staying with them. And so I'm like, okay, God, you got this covered. We'll keep going. That was really cool. And the second one was 2 years ago. We had, what was it? We had maxed out our 8-seater car that we were using at the time, and our trailer had broken. So everything was in that car. And everything had to be packed
In the car, on top of the car, around the
for
car.
real. It was everywhere. Like, we were traveling with merch bins on our laps for 5 to 12 hours a day.
I already
And
know.
if things didn't go in like exactly the way they went in, the trunk wouldn't shut. It was a whole rigmarole. But we were playing at a venue, and this guy, the owner of it, was watching us pack all this stuff into our van and was like, "Hey, let me talk to my wife. I'll be right back." And he came back 5 minutes later and said, "We have a 15-passenger van that we haven't used in 10 years. It's been sitting in the garage. We've only ever used it to go around and like pick up people for their church service in the morning." And he's like, "And we're just going to give it to you if you guys want it."
Wow.
And it was literally a direct answer to prayer because we had been praying for a van, and we named him Chauncey. He's been with us for 2 years. We love him.
That is awesome. Are you guys going to put a wrap on it?
What's so funny is I really, really wanted to, but the one I wanted to do like a shiny, sparkly, like teal green, like, like the metallic kind of wraps, but it kind of creates a target that we didn't need. So we unfortunately decided to just leave it as it was.
Isaac Danford, Josh Schneider. We know when your bus is coming because, yeah, he's down there at the screen. He just wanted to say he loves to cook for you guys.
We love you, Isaac. He's a really good cook.
And there you go. Waffle House, look what it can do for you.
Exactly.
It can prepare life skills. I love it. Well, let's jump into some of the music here. You'd given me a list of some songs, and we won't listen through all of them, but I think I can cue up here your song, Just the Way It Is.
That one's a fun one.
Want to describe some of it? And I'll only play a little bit of it for copyright purposes, but you want to describe a little bit of this song as I'm queuing it up?
This was the very first pop song we ever wrote. I had to fight my drummer a little bit on it, but I said, "Listen, I have a vision." And it's my favorite right now until you hear a new one that's coming out in spring. But we wanted just a fun summer song that left you with a lot of joy, and this is what came out of it.
Cool.
I grew up on the idea that love is what you make it. Time takes a back seat. It's just the way it is. I grew up on the idea forever meant forever. Sparks didn't matter. It's just the way it is. Just the way it is. Just the way it is. You and me forever, you're a knockout. Let's take that, baby, you're a rock star in my eyes. Bottom line, it's just the way it is.
All right, like that professional fade there.
I noticed, and I was like, wow, look at that.
It's the Erskin Music Show, folks. It's the Erskin Music Show. Hey, so tell me, in the audience, very fun song, and that's kind of where I put you guys in the pop category, pop rock category. You got some really fun elements there, but I was just listening to some of your vocals and some of the lines that you sing. I can tell that you like melody because you don't just always sing like notes straight. You'll dance around a little bit on some of those. I was like, she's got some pop influence to her. But give us some of the backstory for this, some fun stuff that we wouldn't otherwise know.
Well, that certainly gives a sense of why people enjoy this show. Very engaging, very heartfelt. We will return to the conversation in a few moments, but first, let's thank our sponsors, Life Action Ministries, Fellowship of Christian Athletes, and you for all your awesome support. And Holt International. Thanks so much to our partners who make such a difference.
Thanks, Jason. Hi, I'm Dawn.
And I'm Steve of Dawn and Steve Plus. We're a podcast, and if you've not checked it out, I hope you'll do that. You can visit our website. It is dawnandsteveplus.com, or you can find us wherever you get your podcasts.
We do hope that you'll be able to join us, even as you continue to follow Erskin Music. Erskin does such a great job of bringing out topics. They're not all easy.
Right. I love that he'll tackle just about any topic.
He will tackle any topic and invite you to the conversation, which is always a plus because learning the art of conversation, well, it's much needed.
It certainly is. And he does a great job with those conversations. So, Erskin, thanks for doing that. Thanks for tackling those tough topics. And thanks for listening to the Erskin Music Show.
All right, let's get back to the show. This is where it gets good.
So the funny thing about filming this video, we rented out an Airbnb, and I had texted the owners and said, "Hey, I love like your space, your house. We would love to film a music video in it." I'm like, "We don't like we're not going to party. We're not bringing a bunch of people in. It's just going to be the band and like a videographer." And we didn't tell them about the balloons and everything else. We kind of just let that be what it was. And it turns out
Oh,
the
by the way,
owner
we
of
have
the house,
balloons.
yeah, and it turns out the owner of the house actually was the like male love interest, I guess, in a bunch of pretty big music videos back in like the 80s.
Oh,
And
wow.
I was like, that is like, what are the odds we choose that house? But we kind of moved all their furniture out of the living room, you know, blew up. It was 700 balloons. And I have never looked at that many balloons in my life and been like, oh, shoot, I should have bought more, because there's like half the room that didn't even get filmed or didn't get filled that you can see. But we hung up all the streamers and we had a giant snowstorm. We got like 4.5 feet in 24 hours. And our videographer was from Arizona and had never seen snow before in his life. So it was hilarious. I loved, he would just like stop and just stare out the window as icicles as long as I am. And all in all, it turned out very, very well. So I'm really, really happy with the project.
That is great. And I do agree with Isaac. That is a great song, a bop for sure.
That was the goal. We needed something like catchy, something fun, something just kind of like just that, you know, the summer song that you can just roll down your windows and dance
Absolutely.
to, and that's
Absolutely.
You know, I think we encapsulated that.
Yeah, definitely has that vibe. All right, explode the code for us today. So social media. Sometimes people don't realize, like, we don't just go and just do stuff. Like, there had to be some prior planning to that. There had to be some coordination. There had to be organization. There had to be negotiation and all the different things for that to come together, and, you know, videos to be filmed, and then obviously distributing that. Social media. Wanted to talk for just a moment about social media, the giant of social media. How do you guys navigate the world of social media? It is 2025 going into 2026, and there's so many advantages and yet pitfalls and disadvantages of social media. Kind of talk a little bit about that world for you guys, because when you're a band and you're starting out and you're kind of gaining momentum, you need to do more and more social media, short form content, all the different things that are out there, interviews like this. How do you navigate that world of social media?
It's such a handy tool, but I don't think anybody enjoys doing it.
Mm,
And for the longest time, I
I'm
was
glad
doing
you
a
said
lot of
that.
just like, you know, posting, you know, all that stuff that you have to keep going and you have to hit algorithms, and there's all the sciences behind it, which don't actually work, but then they'll work for 50% of people. So
Mm,
it's a whole crazy thing. Yeah. And right now, I've passed all the social media off to my drummer. So he does all of the content, all of the posting. Like he manages all of that, which has taken a huge chunk off my plate because I do all of the booking and managing. And
okay.
so he's the one that knows way more about that than I do. But we do every Sunday, not so much when we're on the road, but when we're home, every Sunday is our film day. So we'll, you know, get ready and film 3 or 4 reels, so then they're ready to go throughout the week. We have a calendar that we have, you know, labeled out, and we're posting this day, this day. But it definitely changes as new singles come out, as holidays come out, as, you know, big events come out. Certain things have to change and shift. But he has spreadsheets of what worked and what didn't, and why this works for us, why this didn't work for us. And it's fascinating to see, because it just boggles my mind, and I'm glad that he's taken that aspect. Yay! That's hilarious.
All 14 of those children are excited about your social media profile. Talk to folks about all the different hats. You mentioned a couple of those things and schedules. And I know that there's some up and coming artists who watch this, as well as some seasoned artists and all varieties of it. But all the different hats that you guys need to wear in order to do this.
Yeah, right now it's just the 3 of us on our team, Christian, Lise, and I. And I will say, like, the reason it works for us is because we all have the same goal in mind. We all know where we're going. We agree on what's going on. God continues to lead us, and we step into the areas that we're unsure of, but he continues to open doors, so you keep going. And I do all of the booking, the managing, putting together the tours, putting together the itinerary, letting everybody know where they need to be, what time, and what they're doing. Christian, again, does all the social media, all the onstage production, so that includes running in-ears, talking with all of the sound people, if troubleshooting, if something goes wrong. And eventually, he's kind of training Lise into that role so he can start doing a few more things. And
Hmm.
then she is doing all of the merch right now. So she'll run the table at shows. She does all the inventory, orders all of that. And then we work together on the designing of the products that are coming out, which I'm excited for next year. We got some good ideas going.
That's kind of funny because I actually kind of accidentally ran into you guys at the studio,
Yeah,
at the
yeah,
Micah
yeah.
studio, and Christian was there, and I was like, "Wait a minute, that's Christian!" Like he's just happened to be hanging out there,
Yeah.
and I was coming in. I was coming from a tour in Kansas, and I was passing through, and I was like, "I really need to stop, and we really need to talk about business." And so
Mhm.
he's just sitting there, and I'm kind of like, "Okay, well, we're just going to talk about this in front of you, and so you'll know all the trade
That's what
secrets and
he
everything."
said. He was
He's
like, I
just kind of
felt kind
sitting
of
there
weird.
like,
Yeah.
here's the rate of what we're going to do things. Here's what we got to do. Here's the label. Da, da, da. So it's interesting that he was sitting in on that meeting. So he's kind of, he's kind of part and parcel with several different bands that are there. He's involved in the management and all the different things. And so
Yeah.
that was kind of fun. And
Yeah,
to
he
see you
was telling
guys.
me that after, because Micah had invited him because he was like, we're gonna work on writing some stuff if you want to come down. And he's like, yeah, sure, I'll be there. And afterward, he's like, yeah, they talked a lot of business, and I didn't know if they wanted me there, but they didn't kick me out. So I was like, well, I have nowhere else to go.
Yeah, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. The song Rise.
Mhm.
I can cue that one up. Also, talk to us about that one.
I love this one because it's purely, like just rise above, be above. You can always, I always say you can't necessarily choose the happiness that's in your life, but you can choose joy. Even in some of the darkest moments, the deepest moments, you can still choose to have joy and different things. And that was kind of written after this, that just keep walking. The only way out is through. And that was what born this song.
Awesome.
You let it go. Rise from the pain show deep inside. Rise and hold tight. You'll make it out alive. La da da da, la da 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 da. La da 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 da. La da 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 da. La da da da, la da da.
Come on, everybody. Come on. Almost like a Christmas anthem. I love that. I'll just leave you there with your mouth open.
Yay.
Yeah, mouth agape. That's just the way you want to be pictured. All 14 kids. That's fun. And so I wanted to jump into what hopefully is not going to be controversy, but I'm sure you're a seasoned veteran. You've been doing this. It's Skillet who just released the O Come Emmanuel.
Mm-hmm.
And as much as people celebrated that, there were some people who were just like, wait a minute, rock guitars, O Come Emmanuel, this is like short-circuiting our brains. Like, it's punk, it's rock, it's metal even.
Mhm.
And metal, as you know, is of the devil. And so there's always going to be a contingency of people who are out there
Mm-hmm.
who believe that if you use an electric guitar and then turn up the gain on it a little bit and then have some delay and reverb and all the different things that are going on in an electric guitar, that's of the devil. Have you run into any of that crowd in your musical experiences?
Unfortunately, yes.
I was going to say, I know you have. I know you have.
So it's really funny because my mom actually grew up Mennonite, and if you don't know what they are,
Oh,
they're not
snap.
yeah, so
This
they're
interview's about
not
to get good.
for
Gooder.
the people who don't know what Mennonite beliefs are, they are like a step away from Amish. They're not at all. I have been trained very well that they are nothing alike. However, for the people who don't know, they are alike.
I was going to say, they come from the lineal descendants of Minnow Simons.
I'm not sure about that. I just know that every time I say they're kind of like Amish, but they're a little bit more progressive, my mom's like, no, that's not true. So I just, disclaimer there. But
All right.
what
Well,
that
we'll go to
is
Anabaptist history some other time.
there's a lot of hymns that they sing, which is wonderful. But there are multiple churches that believe that drums are not like okay, like drumming is not okay. Barely guitars are okay. And so growing
Barely.
up in there in that kind of atmosphere, I was really good at navigating that because I knew where God
So,
wanted me to go. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
so were you also Mennonite?
No, my grandma left the church when my mom was like 14, 15.
Oh,
And so
okay.
we weren't raised Mennonite. We were raised around them because they're all my relatives,
Yeah,
but not.
you're right. They're not quite the same thing, but they have the same cultural tendencies
Yeah,
in
exactly.
some regards.
Yeah. And so moving into the rock scene, and even as we've grown more, there are a lot of people that don't think the heavier stuff is quite right. Some of my closest relatives will listen to like 80s rock, but somehow positive rock, uplifting messages isn't good. So explain that to me. But the funniest thing to
Make
me,
it
I
make
think,
sense.
yeah, make it make sense. Christian has actually found a verse, I can't remember where in the Bible, but it's talking about I think it's like lambskin or sheepskin stretched over like a wooden circle and then like beaten upon. What does that sound like? A drum head, you know? And he can
Folks, if you
explain
know
that.
where this verse is, get it up
Yeah,
there
I
on the
will definitely
screen.
find it. I can't remember
Bring some
where it is.
receipts.
But yeah, but he's talked about that before. And the other thing is, Jesus, a lot of people like to look at him as like the little baby in the cradle, which I think worship music and I think some of the softer contemporary Christian music definitely has its place for people. But I also think that there are a lot of people that need a little bit more grit. And the same thing where Jesus was literally like sweating blood. That doesn't sound very, easy to go through. And so I think that there's a lot of grit in rock music that some people don't need, but I think that there's a lot of people, the majority of people, who do need something with a bit more grit to it, a bit more real life. And that's kind of what we've continued to write in and go down. And again, God keeps opening doors. And I think if a song doesn't speak to you, don't discount it, as it won't, because I think it will speak to other people as well.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, but if you just found that there was a smaller group of people who were being genuinely touched and authentically engaged by the music, you wouldn't stop doing what it is that you feel like God has called you to.
Exactly.
Yeah. So,
and not judging other people's paths, I think, is the biggest thing, especially if you see fruit from it, and that's like my biggest gripe of people judging immediately based on, oh, I don't agree with that. And I'm like, okay, but let's look at the fruit that is happening. Now, if there wasn't fruit happening, maybe take that into account too. But if you see people that are continuing to come to Christ and continuing to be saved, or explore the eternal side of things, I think just take a deep breath and understand that maybe there's a difference.
Yeah, so many different ways to go on that. And I do, in theory, agree with what it is that you're saying. However, maybe I would ask the question like this. When you're looking at fruit, because we live sort of in an age of pragmatism as well, and a lot of times people will say this works and this brings people to an event, or if it brings more people to the event and more people get a chance to hear the message, more people end up getting saved or making some kind of spiritual commitment in their lives. And it can almost become an ends justifies the means, and they start doing things that are out of the character of God to attract people to things that they will say, well, we'll just wait long enough, and then there'll be people who come to faith in Christ. And as I was growing up, there used to be a pastor who would always say this: you shouldn't try to present tricks and gimmicks for people, because if you win them with gimmicks and tricks, then you'll have to keep them with gimmicks and tricks. Obviously, if you want to say more about that, you can say more about that, please.
I think I definitely agree with the gimmicks thing. If you start with gimmicks, you end with gimmicks, and it's not a deeper relationship. But I also see, and this is controversial, but
we want some controversy on this show. Doggone it. We expect it on this show.
And there are a lot of people that have told me, like, if you believe, you need to preach from the stage, you need to do this, you need to do that. Personally, for my band, for my walk as of this moment right now, I don't feel like I am supposed to do that, because the more time I spend in the Word and with God, it's my personal relationship that can shine through. And while I think that we write music that reflects our beliefs, because you write, what reflects your beliefs, our biggest conversations come with people from the merch table, come with people around the venue, versus on stage. And I am very much in the sense that I know that I'm doing a job. This is my job. and this is what I am led and called to do on stage. And until that changes, like, I will keep doing that. And there are a lot of people who, if you're a believer, like, you should be using your platform for this and for that. I have seen a lot of bands who have gotten to certain stages or whatever, and if they are supposed to speak, they are supposed to speak. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to discourage people from speaking, because if that is your job, that is where God has you, and he will open those doors for you. If it is not your job and you are pushing against it, I feel like there is more harm done than not. So I think there's definitely a mixed aspect of the entertainment side, and then the I'm also a believer side. And mixing those two is very interesting, because I just keep walking what I'm supposed to do and what I know I'm supposed to do. And doors keep opening, we keep walking through them, is the way that I know that we keep going. Things keep happening, like the van, like being with the mechanic. And I have 10, 20, 30 other stories that are the same thing. So I know I'm supposed to be where I am. And while my story might not look like others, I also understand that their story also doesn't look like mine. And that's the beauty of the body of Christ, is we're all different and made for different things.
Probably if you're an artist who's watching this, or somebody that's engaged in this conversation, and you're starting to see both sides of this, if you've not gone very far into it, you won't go very far into it before there'll be some opposition, whether it be satanic opposition or others who will come and say, you're really not doing that the way that you're supposed to be doing that. Just
and what
know
is that supposed to be?
just know that voice or those voices are out there to somebody somewhere. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. Even this interview is not done the way it's supposed to. Maybe you should dunk on her more, or maybe you should let her talk more, or maybe, there's all the different things that are out there. And I think that you said something that was so critical of this conversation. You have to stand before the Lord yourself, and you have to give an account yourself for your life and what it is that God has called you to do. And so far as you know what that is, your obedience is predicated on doing what God has called you to do. He doesn't always give you all the picture, all the steps. You'll go from here to here to here to here to here to here. But those opportunities for obedience come early, and they come often, and that carves a pathway to where God wants us to be. And so you just, friend, you Meredith, you're already doing it. But other friends who are watching this show today, you do what God has called you to do, and let that be what it is.
And worry about yourself. Everything else will fall into line.
Yeah. But let's rock out a little bit more for this song. I love it. Undefeated, the band. Oh, in your face.
I loved that video. Christian came to me and he's like, I have an idea. I want to bust through a wall. I'm like, okay, sounds good. How are we gonna do that? He's like, I don't know. That's your job. And you know what? It was so funny. That's the other thing, is with each of us, God has continued to give each of us abilities in different areas. And so when he said that, I actually immediately knew how we were gonna do it and what we were gonna do. So
yeah,
it worked out well.
That is fantastic.
We have come to the end of this episode. Don't miss a final word from Erskin.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being a part of the Erskin Music Podcast experience. To all of our guests that come on the show, and for all of our sponsors, thank you guys so much for being a part of it. And for you who listen to the show, you and I, we make this thing happen by simply being kind to one another in the comment section, and then going as followers of Christ and living this thing out. If anybody needs more information, erskinmusic.com is where you start, and then all the nonsense starts, all the social media that's out there. But let's go live it out. See you guys very soon.